Michael Timberlake with our friends at Timberlake and League joins us this morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Always good to have you in studio, Michael. Let's, as we're waiting to get those phone lines ringing this morning, I want to remind you 256-536-0077 is the number to call. Let's talk a little bit about landowner liability. If someone's injured or something even worse happens on your property, who's at fault? What do you need to do as an owner?
You know, we kind of talked about this a little bit because there was a very unfortunate incident on some public land, the land trust property, where someone was killed by a falling branch during a storm recently. And so they ask us, what are the responsibilities of a landowner in this situation? Land trust or anyone that opens up their property for recreational use and doesn't charge for admission. This wouldn't apply to a hunting club or anything where you pay for admission or use it for a commercial purpose. But if you open it up for recreational purposes to all comers, then there's a special law in Alabama that protects you as the landowner from liability for things that happen. Now, in this situation with the land trust, it was an act of God. It was just a freak thing that they had no way of knowing could have happened, and it's just a part of being out in nature. But if there is a situation where somebody's injured because the landowner didn't maintain or didn't warn about a problem, the recreational use statute will protect them in this situation. So in Alabama, if you open up your property for recreational use, you're only responsible for either willful or malicious conduct that causes an injury. So it really has to be something that the landowner knows about, knows somebody is more than likely going to get hurt, and then fails to warn or mitigate the problem.
So hunting season is getting ready to get underway here. Does that change things up a little bit for landowners, or is it pretty much the same kind of rules apply for that?
Yeah, the same would apply. So it's as long as it is a recreational use and the owner opens it up to everybody without charge to get on the property, which is not the case in most hunting properties. But if you open up to recreational use, then you have the benefit of the statute.
256-536-0077 to get your questions answered. I would also like to talk a bit about fireworks. I know Labor Day is coming up next month. Is that also included in that statute?
No, I mean that would be something that it would be external to the property. So that's something that an individual, if they're using fireworks on a piece of property or they use fireworks and someone's injured, then they're going to be potentially personally liable for those injuries that happen. There's ordinances through all over the cities in Alabama that prohibit the use of fireworks within the city limits, and so it would be a violation of an ordinance to use that. And if somebody was injured, then that could subject you to liability in that situation. Or even if you're in the county where the regulations are looser, if you are an individual and you still use fireworks in an unreasonable or unsafe manner, you can be personally liable for that conduct or that action, and it could cause injury to somebody, or it could cause injury to property. Either one, you're still responsible.
All right, let's go to the phone lines right now. Jenny's standing by. Good morning, Jenny. You can go ahead with your question for Michael.
Yes, my question is, I was renting a property, and my rent was paid up, things of that nature, but the landlord came in on me unannounced early one morning, evicted me the first weekend, and my rent paid up. So eventually I did move because I didn't feel safe anymore. But I was never given an eviction notice. He took all my things, and I just need to know what I can do because I lost all that money. It's just been a mess.
Right. I mean, the Landlord-Tenant Act in Alabama provides you some remedies for, basically says what a landlord can and can't do, and one of them is provide you, notice if they're going to come onto your property, and also provides them an obligation to refund your deposit if the landlord should break the lease. So you really need to kind of look at the Landlord-Tenant Act in Alabama to see what your remedies would be under this situation. But they can't kick you out and not refund your deposit.
Well, if you didn't get your questions answered, remember you can always call our friends over at Timberlake and Leak. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.